Hi, my name is Donna Swanson. I'm the Executive Director at Focus Alternative Learning Center, and we would like to welcome you to our show, Focus on Autism. We have some of our esteemed members of our panel and our program here to talk to you about school, what works and what doesn't work. And my co-host is Lucas Hofstadter.
Nice to see you all. Thank you for joining us.
And we're going to sort of start by going around the panel here and talking about what we like about school and what we don't, and people will introduce themselves. Lucas, do you have anything that you wanted to add about what we're going to be doing during this short episode?
Yeah, hopefully we're going to be giving all of you guys...
Don't worry, I won't forget my line.
You'll get your line in, Alex.
We're going to be giving all of you viewers at home a chance to get a peek into the world of those with autism spectrum diagnoses. And we're going to be talking about a couple of different subjects today, but we're going to be starting off with school and what worked for us in school, what didn't work for us, and what the experience was like, and hopefully how it was different for us than it was for those not on the spectrum.
And we want to make sure that you understand that our kids are not bashing schools. They want to tell you what works, what doesn't work, and what their experiences have been. First, we're going to start off with Alex.
Hello, my name is Alex Cable, and what helps me at school is small classes, teachers that understand me, and let me use fidget tools, and let me pick. What doesn't help me is big crowded classes and bullies.
So crowded classes and bullies do not help. But what does help is like what you're doing right now is you're having a fidget toy and being allowed to go out and pace when you need to. And do you ever take advantage of that, Alex?
Yep.
You take advantage of it in a good way, right? You don't just try to go take space to get out of something.
Right.
You try to take space so that you can calm yourself down and get back to class.
Right.
And you like a nice small setting and a nice quiet setting. And one of the things that you've often said is that it really helps when people try to understand you, right?
Right.
And what other thing have you told me? Does it matter whether people actually help or not?
Not always.
What matters is that that they try to help?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you like school, right?
Right.
What do you like about school? You have some favorite subjects?
I like math, science, gym.
Yeah,
Especially gym.
Yeah, and Alex, you won an award for, you won the President's Achievement Award, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and you're planning on going to college too, right?
Right.
Yeah, so you do. He takes school very, very seriously. I'm going to move on next to Andy. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Andy Cables. I'm 29. I work at Focus, and I also I'm starting, actually recently, working at Shannon House in the Young Adult Services program as well.
And what about school for you? What were the things that you liked about school?
I liked having a great support system at my high school. Like the teachers and the paraprofessionals that work with me were very honest and genuine people. So.
And one of the things that you did was you reluctantly got involved.
Yeah, like my mom and dad were very nice as far as getting me involved because they wanted me to do something with the school. So they called my guidance counselor, they talked it over with him, asked him what I can do to get involved with the school, which I did. And I knew I was a good runner, so but even then I still said that I didn't really want to do it at first. But when I finally got involved and joined the team, I found that it was such a great experience for me. So.
Yep. So being involved, running track,
yeah.
that kind of thing really helped. Now, Andy, you weren't diagnosed with Asperger's till when?
Until I was 23, and so 6 years ago.
And Alex, you have autism, and you've known about that since you were how old?
About 5.
Yep. So you have autism, and you've known it since you were 5. Andy, you were diagnosed.
23. So.
And that made you feel better once you had that diagnosis.
I had a diagnosis of ADD since I was about 3, but the diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome helped me really figure out what it was all meaning, or what it all meant. So.
And one of the things that Andy also went on and got an associate's
Yep.
degree from college.
University of Hartford Hillier program.
Yeah, and you did very well
And I
there.
did. For those 2 years, I did great. But then after that, I was put into the big ocean, we call it, like the big part of the school, which I just couldn't handle, so I had to end up leaving. So.
Yeah, it was too much stress. And we're going to be doing an episode on transition, and that's where we'll be talking more about that, because it was really a kind of a devastating transition
Yeah.
for Andy. What didn't you like about school?
The social anxiety, just having that as a part of who I am, sort of made it difficult to fit in most areas. So.
Well, you're more comfortable as a young adult.
I am, yeah, because of focus, like it has helped me a lot, like a very large amount in my life. So.
Yeah, good. And then we have Miss Lauren. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Lauren Shine. I'm 13 years old, and I really love to go to Focus.
Yeah. And what about school?
School, I just feel like I don't fit in there, but at Focus, I feel a sense of belonging, and I feel really happy.
So that is one of the things and that's a theme that comes up over and over again when we do our panels out in the community, is that the need for our guys to fit in and to feel safe. And that's why they'll often say that they like Focus, is because people understand them at Focus, and they feel like they have more of a peer group. But what are some of the difficulties for school? Because you're a very smart young lady.
Well, it's just that I have a lot of social difficulties. Academics just comes very easily. I'm very gifted with intelligence, and I really enjoy it, the academic part, and I really like the teachers at my school, but I just don't like working with kids socially.
And what gets in the way?
Well, I try to make friends, and then it ends up being a big mess because I misinterpret things, and that just and it turns out not usually the way I want it to.
And then sometimes it's hard to go back and undo that, right?
Yeah.
So people say, don't be friends with Lauren, or, it gets too
Yeah.
confusing, right?
Yep.
And what are your talents in school?
I love to write.
You're a writer.
Yes.
And what else?
Well, I love to read too.
Love to read and write. So the academics aren't the problem. The problem is fitting in
Yeah.
and feeling safe at school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to add? What does help at school? What do the teachers do that do help?
Well, they give me a straight pass to the guidance office and to the apple room where there are other special needs kids. They are younger than me, and they have a little bit more, they're on a higher scale than I am. But it really helps to be there because the teachers know me very well there, and they'll listen to me. The teachers in regular classes don't usually get time to do that because they're working with the other kids.
Okay, so for what you're saying is that the regular teachers, if they had the time, they'd probably listen to you and help, but they're so busy
Yeah.
so that it helps to have that other pass to go and be in a room where people have the time to talk to you.
Yes.
And are you allowed to use that pass anytime?
Pretty much.
Okay. And are there times that you have more problems at school?
Well, yeah, during math class, I attempted to hurt someone recently, and my psychologist thought I was too dangerous to be in school, and it almost seemed like I had hurt someone, and it made me feel really bad being in that room with him because he made the call to my guidance counselor and stuff, and it really stressed me out.
Yeah.
And I was doing fine in everything, and I had friends, and I was doing really well in academics, and then that kind of took me off guard.
Took you off guard. So feeling safe is really important to you,
Yes.
and really trying to figure out how to get along with others.
Yep.
Yep. And that's not as hard at Focus as it is at school.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is?
Well, Focus kids are more like me, and they're sometimes older and more experienced with those things, and I can talk to them, and they'll be really sympathetic and stuff, and they'll really understand me.
Good. Lucas, we know if anybody's ever seen our panel, Lucas has not, he's not a big fan of school, although he's a big fan of learning. And why don't you talk a little bit about that, Lucas? And well, Lauren has Asperger's, Andy has Asperger's, Lucas?
Asperger's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've never, as Donna says, been a particularly big fan of school, but that's largely because of my learning style and because I have so much difficulty just relating to others, even more so when I was actually in school. But I enjoy learning, but the way that I learn was not the way that everybody in school taught. I'm a very hands-on learner. I don't learn well through lectures. I don't learn well through sitting and having to pay attention and just having information thrown at me. It's very hard for me to absorb it that way. I need it presented to me in a way that helps me see it and understand it and process it visually. And sitting in a classroom just really doesn't accomplish that for me. I had some teachers who were very kind and who did their best to be flexible with me and to help find ways that were maybe a little bit more experiential and more visual and concrete for me to learn, but they were the exception rather than the rule. I've always had difficulty academically in school. People have told me often that I'm an intelligent person. I figure I'll leave it up to others to be the judge, but I think that it really requires some flexibility with learning style in order for people to be able to learn. I learn best, unfortunately, on my own when I'm not being forced into whatever it is I have to do. I've learned how to speak and read Japanese on my own from playing video games. Didn't come from school, that's for sure, but I learned it on my own. I've learned, so many things.
What were some of the things that, there were some particular things that they did for you that helped, like the gym, maybe you could give a short answers about that.
Donna's an APRN, wrote me a medical excuse for gym throughout high school, and that was tremendous because gym is an area for potential bullying, first of all. It's a tremendously unstructured time. It creates a lot of opportunity for those who aren't good at it to be picked on, and I wasn't good at it. And it's as if the social pressures and difficulties of school in general aren't difficult enough for some of us. Gym presents a whole nother level of, oh my God, what do I do now? Just locker room humor wasn't something I understood really very well or at all. And people, my peers, were not really very kind for the most part. School, I've compared it to, and I want to reiterate that this is not me bashing school, this is me expressing how difficult school was for me. I've compared school to shipping off to Iraq every day, really just throwing my gear over my shoulder, getting on the bus, heading out, not knowing if I was going to make it back. It was that level of anxiety. School was not a very safe place for me. Bullies were a problem. Lack of empathy was a problem. Teachers didn't understand me very well. So it was, from all angles, it was very difficult for me.
Thank you. And we'll get back to some more of this. Ben, you have been waiting so patiently.
Yeah.
What would you like to say about school? You like school, right?
Yeah.
What do you like about school?
What I like about school is that I like to be in gym class, and I like to do all sorts of fun, interesting stuff like dodgeball, soccer, baseball, basketball, and hockey that is interesting in me. And I do thank you that you gave me that school, and I'm just right to fit in with those kids, that they're very cooperative to me, and they speak to me nicely, literally, and they have a very good attitude, and no kids having a hard time in my class, that they love me and they care for me, and that I like to come to Focus because I like to go to camp, and I like to go to Focus Camp and visit Donna's animals, especially Tucker, and I love to come to Focus, and Fred always brings one of his Irish Wolfhounds into Focus, which is Zara, and I walk her around the parking lot and I pet her.
What subjects do you like at school?
What I like at school is that I like math, reading, language, and free time and social time to interact and take place with the kids and just fit in with them. It's just my dream.
Your dream is what, to fit in?
My dream is to be on a farm and working with animals and taking care of the animals like Fred does at your house.
Yep. And you're lucky because you go to a nice, quiet, special school like Alex does. You two are in the same school, and they really do understand you, don't they?
Yeah.
What don't you like about school?
The fire drills, because when the fire drill alarm goes off, it hurts my ears very much because I can't stand that sound of the fire alarm going off. And when my teachers, Mrs. O'Donnell is the principal, and Mrs. Goldberg is my new teacher. And Mrs. O'Donnell said to Mrs. Goldberg, my mother, that whenever is a fire drill, they take me right outside before the alarm goes off, because that's why it helps me with my sensory to not hear the alarm, because I get to go outside.
And plus, you know about it too, so
Yeah.
you know it's coming, right?
Yep.
Anything else that's hard for you at school?
What I'm thinking is, what is hard for me that is literally some people try to ask me some people try to tell me questions about I have to do this or I have to do that, then I get a little anxious, but I say baby words like baby words and not very fresh words like swear or say inappropriate words.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever I say a fresh word, Mrs. Whatever her name is writes it down in my booklet, and Mom gives me a consequence for that, and I try not to say the word over and over again because it gets me in more big trouble.
So when you're fresh, you're sort of trying to tell people that you're anxious, right?
Yeah, I'm anxious. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one thing that they know, that when you're fresh, that you're feeling anxious and people are asking too much from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how old are you?
I'm 15 years old. My birthday already passed. I was born in Bulgaria, Stara Zagora, Bulgaria, and I was in a terrible, terrible orphanage. And I was never held, never touched, never fed, never rocked, and I was never cared for. I was just there all alone, starving and screaming and crying to death, literally.
Yeah.
And when I saw these two strangers come up to me and try to touch me, I just sat there screaming and crying because I was just a little baby. Mm-hmm. And I was at 18 months old when I was adopted, and I was 9 months old when I was placed in the orphanage, and when they saw me on video, I was 9 weeks old.
So you are adopted by a wonderful family.
Yeah.
And they take really good care
Yep.
of you. You're a lucky boy.
Yeah, and my name was Yanko Anakov Yankov when I was in the orphanage. But now, when Mommy went to work in the Gold Building in Hartford, Daddy used to play with me on the floor, and we used to have block time all the time, and we used to build blocks. Mm-hmm. And he used to take me over to the park all the time in Glastonbury, and we used to play and we used to go on the swings together. Mm-hmm. He used to put me in a swing that has a thing around it so I wouldn't fall out. And he used to say, wee, wee.
Yep.
And I used to go on the slide together, and Daddy used to put me on his lap, and I used to go on the slide, and we used to have a fun time. But now,
I want to get back to school.
Yeah.
But that is so interesting.
Yep.
And I can't say how lucky you are
Mm-hmm.
to be in the home that you're in.
Yeah.
And in the school that you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's by Jesus Christ, the Lord Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ, our Holy Spirit. And Jesus gave me these good and special gifts because I am a very good gift to God, because he gives me the gift of art, the gift of volunteering with animals, and the gift of helping around the house. And I'm very talented at singing and schoolwork, and I'm such a very good boy to God.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And you're also good at art.
Yeah.
But you know what? Now I'm going to give Emily a chance.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yep.
All right. Emily, you've had sort of a similar experience like Lucas has had in school. It's not been the greatest, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. So, Emily, you have pervasive developmental disorder and a lot of anxiety.
Yes, that is so very much anxiety. When I took my neuropsych testing, the doctor said I was like one of the most anxious people who's ever
I know.
met.
And so what didn't you like about school? What didn't help at school?
A lot of things didn't help. It's just, I don't know, well, it was basically the environment with all the students and everything, and and having the socialization parts were the worst, because as I got older in high school, I would always have to eat lunch alone. Well, I mean, I don't have to, but I'd always end up eating lunch alone or skipping a lunch altogether because it would be so much anxiety for me. And they would just kick me out of their tables anyway, move my backpack. So I just, I didn't even, sometimes I'd just go in the study hall and go in my corner and like, I don't know, it was just a thing to get away from it, which that was a good thing, study hall and stuff. That's what I...
Study halls help?
Yes.
And what about, you did not like field trips either, right?
No, I hate field trips. A lot of people think it's a cool thing to get away for a while, but it's another big social thing where you have to, you know, sit next to someone you probably don't know, or a teacher, and all the other kids are paired up with friends and talking, having so much fun, and you're just like, oh, just sitting there, and then like, if I feel like I'm ready to explode sometimes, and so that's really hard for me. I hate field trips.
But now you are in school, you're going to college,
Yes,
and you're majoring in,
graphic arts.
yep, and how has that worked for you? Because do you take a full course load, or?
I only take one course at a time. Work part-time, go to school part-time. I know it doesn't help with benefits much, but it keeps the anxiety to a minimum.
And Emily goes to Tunx's Community College, and they just redid it, and it was really, they did a beautiful job, but you like the old college better. Why?
It's smaller and more comfortable. This one is all big and echoey, and it's just kind of scary.
So the echoes and it just feels different. It doesn't feel like...
it doesn't feel as, as small and tight-knit and comfortable.
And that's one thing that we can say for all of us here, is that we don't like a lot of change too much, too quickly, right?
We also don't like big things. We like our small schools classes and...
Okay, so small...
Don't like overstimulation.
So what did help? What's a couple things that helped make school easier?
Well, sometimes I did get notes written for me before, because I would never be able to read the board. I have really pretty bad eyesight. I was born with cataracts, and so they would like use like maybe green pen on the white board or something. I say, I can't read that. And so I wouldn't get half of what they were really talking about. I'm like, I'm trying to read what they're saying and trying to take notes at the same time, but I ended up being like a bunch of scribbles, like half of the notes taken, and then maybe some doodles, because I don't know what else to just go upon. And they wouldn't change it before once, and that's when I left the school. Not just because of that, but they wouldn't change a lot of things. Well, they wouldn't. It's not like you had to change. Like, I wanted to at least meet halfway. They wouldn't even meet halfway.
Yeah. So, that made it very difficult for you, and then the anxiety became so much that you just decided that you wanted to be homeschooled.
Yes, so I was homeschooled, got my GED.
And did very well on your GEDs.
Yes.
And now she's going to college and doing all kinds of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, What about you in school? What's your experience?
It's kind of like Lucas and Emily's a little bit, because the bullies are not very helpful, and a lot of times neither are the teachers.
The teachers aren't always helpful.
Right.
In what way?
On it. They just when I try to explain to them something that happened, they're like, oh, because we didn't see it, we can't do anything about it, and then they just drop the matter.
Okay, so that's frustrating for you. If the teachers didn't see it, then they say it didn't happen.
Right.
And you have been bullied a lot in school, as have, who else has been bullied here? Lauren, Lucas, Emily, and Mike. So, you know, Alex hasn't, Andy hasn't, and Ben hasn't. So they're very lucky, because bullying, that really hurts your feelings, huh?
Right.
What has helped in school?
I'd have to say auto mechanics.
Yeah. What? 1 minute. Auto mechanics has helped?
Yeah.
Okay. We're kind of running out of time here. It really went by fast today. What's our message, Lucas? If we had to sum it up, what do we want to say to teachers out there?
We want to let teachers know that we're not broken. We don't want to be fixed. We just want someone to try and really, like Emily said, meet us halfway, try to understand our needs, and if not totally accommodate them, then at least make some effort, not make us fully responsible for just sucking it up and dealing with it.
And really being accepted as, we like to call ourselves creatively wired and socially challenged, and to understand how that impacts our lives. We can't thank you enough for being with us, and we hope you will join us again. We have a few more shows to do over the next few months, and stay tuned. Thank you very much. What do you guys want to say?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.